Hello, virtual mermaids. Thank you for coming to my page once again. I am emilywand, and today I wanted to do a vlog about how to be a waitress in Second Life. This is a really interesting job to have in Second Life. I've done it myself. I love it. With having my baby and trying to do videos in the little bit of time that I have, I no longer can waitress in Second Life, but I used to do it in my free time for fun and to make some Lindens so I could, purchase things. And it's a really, really cool way to make some Lindens if you have the time. So I wanted to talk about my experience, also tips, and I hope to hit everything that I've learned, and hopefully it will help you guys if you want to be a waitress in Second Life with your journey, and help you to become the most perfect waitress in Second Life. So number one, there's a couple different avenues you can do to become a waitress in Second Life. So you can search the jobs, you can see what restaurants are hiring, you can search hotels, see what hotels are hiring for restaurant waitresses. You can also search wedding venues. Those are really, really good places to be waitresses. So there's a lot of different places you can search. What I would recommend is before you start applying and putting out your applications everywhere, is I would start visiting the places and looking at how busy they are. So going at different times and seeing, how busy it is, are people there, how they greet you, and see if it's a place that you'd actually want to work at. One thing I would say is you want to be, when you are visiting, if you decide you do want to apply, you do want to be dressed conservatively. You want to present yourself in a professional manner. You don't have to wear the waitressing outfit that I'm wearing right now, but you do have to wear a professional outfit. So keep your hair back. Don't have like lots of piercings and things like that. And it's not to say that, if that's your style, that's totally fine. But from what I've seen with the restaurants, is they do like to have more professional feel. But if you feel like, maybe there's a restaurant that's more gothic or maybe a little different, then you could be a little bit more free. But the places that I applied at wanted you to not have piercings and tattoos, and wanted you to look, I guess, vanilla. I don't know how to say it. So anyway, so you want to dress well. You also want to have an AO that's more professional. So one where it's more elegant. I like the elegant poses. And then you also want to have an AO where your facial expressions are smiling and you're not frowning or looking, serious. So that is my tip as far as applying. The second way you can do it is you can actually build a skybox where you're building a restaurant in your skybox, and people can come and visit and sit, and then you would essentially wait tables on the people that visit. And then I would also recommend getting a waitressing outfit, that something like this, simple black shoes, and always having your hair pulled back, and also saving your outfit so you're not constantly having to rechange. So that is my tip on how to find a waitressing job. The second thing is most of the restaurants that I've seen have a paging system. And if you do want to create your own skybox situation, you probably want to have a paging system. You can also set it up where your tip jar that's in your restaurant can let you know when people are visiting. So that way you're not just standing there and waiting. I personally like the paging system. I know that some restaurants want you to kind of stand there and wait, but I don't like doing that. So I like a Uber system. It's like, okay, somebody's at the restaurant, I can put on my outfit and then I can go there and then see if they, want to sit down and want me to be their waitress. The other thing is that most restaurants have groups. So, you might get a message from your boss or manager, hey, we have a reservation at such and such time. Could you waitress that at such and such time? If you decide that you want to start your own restaurant, you do want to start your own group. It might take a little bit of time for people to be a part of the group, but what's going to happen is eventually you're going to have a following and people are going to ask for you, whether if you work for somebody or you work for yourself. People in the group will start asking for you, hey, could I do a reservation? Could we do a party? And it's really kind of fun. The other thing is that you can also set up a time where, hey, you have the paging system, but say on Thursdays you're available for 3 hours. So that way people know, hey, you're going to be here at least once a week for 3 hours, and I can come in, have a romantic dinner, and yeah, you're around. So that is the paging system. The other thing is the tip jars. So most of the restaurants have tip jar. They all have tip jars, obviously, but some of them have like floating tip jars that kind of float with you while you're waitressing, and the customer will tip you after the service, and the restaurant will take a percentage out of your tips. So typically, the tipping, as far as a percentage, is usually anywhere. Like the highest I would say is 50%. But the ones I've worked at has been 30%. I feel personally, if it's more than 50%, I wouldn't work at that place, because I think that it's just, I don't know, that just wouldn't be a good percentage for me, because you are taking your time and you are servicing a customer. So I feel like 50-50 is like, it's fair, but I personally would lean more towards the 30-70. So 70 for you and then 30 for the restaurant. So that, as far as the tips. The tipping is, there's not a specific requirement as far as how much a customer will tip you. Some of them will tip you 200 lindens. Some of them will tip you 1,000. Sometimes they'll tip you 2,000 lindens. So it's really up to them how much they want to tip you. The main thing is you always want to be grateful no matter what the price is as far as tipping. So if somebody gives you 50 lindens and you spent, 45 minutes waitressing on them, it sucks, but you still keep like a happy attitude and you're still grateful, because most of the time other people will make up for that, kind of like waitressing in real life. The other thing is when you're waitressing, you're typically not going to have just one couple. You'll have a couple of couples. So it's not like, you're kind of just waiting, and depending on that one specific couple, but sometimes you will. But anyways, that's as far as the tipping amount. I typically, within a 3-hour period, it really depends. Sometimes I do 3,000 lindens for 3 hours. Sometimes it's 4,000. It's really depends on the couple. But for me, it's not like a job as far as making a living. It doesn't replace an income that you would get from a real world job. It's just a way to make some Linden. So for me, it really wasn't that serious. It was just fun. So the other thing is, I talked about your outfit, having a waitressing outfit that's professional, and having black shoes and your hair pulled back. So when you greet the customer, you want to, talk about where they're visiting, the name of the place, and then you want to be able to give them a menu. So most of the restaurants will have a menu that they've created with note cards, as well as the specials. And you want to have some sort of special. Some restaurants have special of the day. Some of them just have specials that are permanent. But you want to have a special, and you want to have a routine of how you describe the special. So, if there's a soup, pumpkin soup, you'd say, we have a really delicious locally made pumpkin soup, and it is really wonderful. It's creamy, and I really, really recommend that for your appetizer, and it's perfect for sharing. Something like that. Dessert, you want to say, oh, we have a really delicious chocolate souffle with cherry filling, and it is so delicious, it melts in your mouth. Everyone loves it. Something like that, where it's really, you have your personality in it. And then as far as the description is, most of the places will have two ways that you can communicate with the customers. You can either do it through voice or you can do it with chat. And from what I've experienced, most of the restaurants are accommodating if you just want to do chat, because a lot of people in Second Life, not everyone, but some people are hearing impaired. So they're welcome if you're going to do chat or if you want to do voice. It's really up to you. And from what I've seen with the customers, they're pretty cool with either or. I personally have always just done chat because I prefer to navigate Second Life quietly. It's just my preference. So even though I wasn't using voice, I think the customers really liked it. And also I felt like it was more immersive as far as the role playing, because, you weren't hearing voices or noises in the background. So I would say I can't give you any sort of tips as far as using voice, but if you do decide to use voice, make sure that your background is quiet, that you don't have music in the background, and that you're able to do it for a length of time without having any interruptions, because people will hear noises in the background. So no babies crying, all that stuff. Common sense. So that is, I'm trying to think of what else as far as waitressing goes. Yeah, it's a super, super fun way to make some Lindens. If you're not if you're not looking at it as far as like, oh, I need to make, this amount to replace a real world job, I don't think that's realistic. But I think if you're just looking to just make some Lindens so that you can buy clothes and you don't have to, add money to your account, you can just use the Lindens that you use waitressing. I think it's a really perfect way to make Lindens, and it's a vanilla job. It's super fun. And then what's really nice is you'll actually build relationships. You'll build people who will request you. You'll meet families. I loved waitressing on families. Like I told you guys, I don't know if you guys know this from before, but I said that like my favorite thing is to see people at coffee shops and people eating and having, romantic dinner and families. I just find it very, very sweet and warming, and it just makes me really happy to see that. So waitressing was a way for me to actually see that and not be creepy, not like stare or anything. So it was a way for me to interact with people. The other thing is you want to also do when you're doing your waitressing, you want to write in the chat I'm not sure how that would work with voice, but you want to write in the chat, like, peer over and looking to make sure that, customer is satisfied with their dinner. Like writing text that is more role play, if that makes sense. So if I was to see, so if I was waitressing on a customer and I served them their souffle, I would say, here's your souffle. And then I would go over to like the corner of the restaurant and just sort of kind of wait. And then I would just say, peer over, looking over and making sure a customer is satisfied eating their souffle. Like little wordings like that, like people really like that because it just kind of adds to the role play, if that makes sense. And then you do want to check in, obviously. You want to check in, but you don't want to rush people. People also, if you take your time, people also will say, like they'll write, oh, like looking for waitress, or peers over to see if waitress is looking at us, and then I kind of know, hey, I should go over there and check in. The other thing is with the glasses, you want to make sure that you're clearing the setting each time. So if they want a pumpkin soup, you want to make sure that you're clicking on the plates, and then clearing it. And then I love, like right now I'm standing here with this tray here. I love this tray because I think it really adds to the role play. So when you are bringing over the dinner, I like to walk over with a tray like this with the roses, and people love this and they like tip you extra for doing this. And then also, yeah, like smile. You can write, I'm smiling. Also smiling with your AO. And just people will interact with you with their personality and make jokes. So, just kind of take their cue. If they're kind of saucy and they want to add, their humor to it, you can also add your humor as well. But the main thing is just have fun. The first time you do it, it's nerve-wracking. It's so weird, but I was so nervous. But after, like, so many times, it's like second nature, and you just really just love it. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. So that is all I can think of. I'm trying to just rack my mind and think, is there anything else? That's all I can think of as far as waitressing. If I think of anything else, I will make a second video, but I hope I covered all my bases. And yeah, that's it. So I thank you, Virtual Mermaids, for visiting my page, and I hope you find this useful. I hope you find waitressing jobs, and I hope you make lots and lots of Lindens, and I will see you soon with another video.